So now moving on to question number 32. This one says, while researching a topic, a student has taken the following notes. The Atlantic Monthly magazine was first published in 1857. The magazine focused on politics, art, and literature. In 2019, historian Cathryn Halverson published the book Faraway Women and the Atlantic Monthly. Its subject is female authors whose autobiographies appeared in the magazine in the early 1900s. One of the authors discussed is Juanita Harrison. The student wants to introduce, what does the student want to introduce? He wants to introduce Cathryn Halverson's book. Which is Cathryn Halverson's book? It is Faraway Women. That's the main book of her. So the student has to introduce Cathryn Halverson's book to an audience already familiar with the Atlantic Monthly. Which choice most effectively uses relevant information from the notes to accomplish this goal? So, is it A. Cathryn Halverson's Faraway Women and the Atlantic Monthly discusses female authors whose autobiographies appeared in the magazine in the early 1900s? Is it B. A magazine called the Atlantic Monthly referred to in Cathryn Halverson's book title was first published in 1857? Is it C. Faraway Women and the Atlantic Monthly features contributors to the Atlantic Monthly, first published in 1857 as a magazine focusing on politics, art, and literature? D. An author discussed by Cathryn Halverson is Juanita Harrison, whose autobiography appeared in the Atlantic Monthly in the early 1900s. So, although it seems confusing when we read all of these answer choices, the answer is quite simple. So, which do you think it is? If you said A, that is correct. That is the main one. She's a historian, Cathryn Halverson. She published the book Faraway Women. So choice A is the best answer. The sentence effectively introduces Cathryn Halverson's book to an audience already familiar with the Atlantic Monthly, noting the title of Halverson's book and describing its content without providing background information about the Atlantic Monthly. And then B is incorrect. The sentence introduces the Atlantic Monthly and mentions that it's referred to in Cathryn Halverson's book title. It doesn't effectively introduce Halverson's book. It's not introduced the book itself. Then C is incorrect. The sentence assumes that the audience is unfamiliar with the Atlantic Monthly and provides background information about the magazine. It doesn't effectively introduce Halverson's book to an audience already familiar with the Atlantic Monthly. And then D also is incorrect. While the sentence assumes that the audience is familiar with the Atlantic Monthly, it doesn't effectively introduce Cathryn Halverson's book. So I hope that's clear.